Ladies and gentlemen, from the Universal Church of Freedom, Peace and Justice, Deacon Gerald Celente.
Hello, this is Deacon Celente of the Universal Church of Freedom, Peace and Justice. Going back to February 22nd, 2022, the Trends Journal, cover of the magazine, we warned that from COVID war to Ukraine war to world war. This was 2 days before Russia invaded Ukraine, of which we are totally opposed, but which we totally understand why it happened. Now, the media is repeating that world war is flashing, the signs are flashing. It's already begun. There's going to be a false flag event or a nuclear exchange that's going to, quote, make it official. And now the war is really being ramped up. This past week, the United States and Germany said they were going to be sending these advanced tanks. The Leopard 2A tanks and the American tanks, the Abrams tanks. President Biden had said when this began that the United States would not be sending offensive weapons. And now there's talk about sending jet fighters and more missiles. President Biden said during a 2012 vice presidential debate, quote, "My religion defines who I am. I've been a practicing Catholic my whole life." A practicing Catholic your whole life? You have supported every war your whole adult life. The Iraq wars, the Afghan wars, and as vice president, the overthrow of Muammar Gaddafi in Libya, and as vice president, the war against Syria, that the president at the time, Barack Obama, said that both Assad and Gaddafi, quote, had to go. You call yourself a Catholic? What Jesus Christ do you believe in? My religion defines who I am. I've been a practicing Catholic my whole life. You're a sinner. You're not practicing Catholic. Jesus Christ, Joe Biden, was the Prince of Peace. Jesus Christ did not approve of the massacre and murder of countless millions of people in the wars that you support did all of your adult life. And now the Ukraine war. Yep. Allies agreed to dispatch Abrams and Leopards. Ukrainians celebrate. That's the Financial Times. And they have a picture of these women holding up signs, free Leopards, meaning the tanks. They say that if only women were in charge, there'd be peace. That's a lie. The women are as evil as the men. The women are as good as the men. The blacks are as good as the whites. The whites are as bad as the blacks. Race, creed, and color, good and bad comes in all of them. No talk about peace. Peace is banned in America. It is not allowed in the West. It is not allowed in Europe. Just like if you did not want to get the Operation Warp Speed gene therapy inoculation, the first ever injected into the human body, you were banned. You were humiliated. You were denounced. You were blacklisted. And it's the same with war. The same with war. All the media does is promote war, not a peep about peace. We are banned. We are not allowed to talk about peace. I used to be on ABC, CBS, NBC, Fox, NPR, Oprah. Banned. You will not talk about peace. We will only bring people that unite for war and murder. That has become the way of the Western world. The Anglo-Saxon world, the sun never sets on the British Empire. A report came out that when the British took control of India, because of what they did to the Indian people, over 163 million of them died. And now America's taken on that sun never sets on the British Empire by going around the globe and telling people what they should do. As this country's rotting in front of us, as they send more to weapons are now at over $115 billion, as the homeless are filling the streets, that people are living paycheck to paycheck, 63%. My religion defines who I am, Biden said. Your religion is not the Catholic religion. I was raised Catholic. You are not a Catholic. You are a war criminal. You are a murderer. Jesus Christ would not bless you unless you repented for your sins and called for peace. Will you do that in the name of God? In the Jesus that you say you believe in? Every gun that is made, every warship launched, every rocket fired signifies in the final sense a theft from those who hunger and are not fed. Those who are cold and are not clothed. The world in arms is not spending money alone. It is spending the sweat of the laborers, the genius of the scientists, the hopes of the children. This is not a way of life at all, in any true sense. Under the clouds of war, it is humanity hanging on a cross of iron. Just like Jesus Christ hung on the cross when he drove the bankers out of the temple. That, by the way, under the clouds of war, it is humanity hanging on a cross of iron, which we are. These are the words of Dwight D. Eisenhower, 5-star general, supreme commander of the Allied forces in World War II. He was the one that ended the Korean War. While his candidate running against him was campaigning, he wasn't. He was ending the Korean War. This is a man that saw the bloody death of World War II and wanted no more part of it. Just like JFK. And they killed JFK because he wanted peace. And who knows, maybe they'll kill me too because I want peace. This is from January 1st. I've said this before, I'm going to say it again. NATO chief says sending more weapons to Ukraine is quickest path to peace. It may sound like a paradox, but military support for Ukraine is the fastest way to peace. This is the Secretary Jens Stoltenberg, the NATO secretary. That's not a paradox. It's an outright lie. It's a demonic lie. More war does not bring more peace. It brings more death. And then he goes on to say, we know that most wars end at the negotiating table. Stop. All wars end at the negotiating table. Unless you murder your opponents and destroy their country and all the people's lives. He goes on to say, probably this war too. Of course it will. But we know that Ukraine can achieve in these negotiations depends inextricably on the military situation. The military situation. December 17th, 2022. This is the propaganda that they keep selling. Why I said peace is not allowed. Only lies, propaganda, and calls for more war are permitted. The Daily Star, this is the front page, World News. Vultures circling Putin as despot faces coup. Mad Vlad Putin faces pressure in Moscow as the continued failure of Russian army in Ukraine sparks renewed rumors that the former loyalists inside the Kremlin are preparing to oust him. It was well over a month ago. Continued failure? No, the Russians are winning. The Russians just took more territory. The Russians control over 20% more of Ukraine since they invaded. They're destroying an estimated, depending on whose numbers you see, up to 70% of Ukraine's energy and water infrastructure and other infrastructure. Vladimir Putin is under increasing pressure after his disastrous invasion of Ukraine. That's December 17th. December 29th. The war is at a stalemate, Ukraine's intelligence chief says. Total lie, but that's what they sell, and that's what the people believe. New Year's Eve. Front page of the Judge Report. Year end. Putin alone doesn't know what to do. Another mystery death in Russia. Total propaganda. And this is January 23rd, the week. War. Germany will not block tanks. Can Putin survive? This is by Peter Weber. When Russian President Vladimir Putin launched his three-pronged invasion of neighboring Ukraine in February 2022, his goal was to erase Ukraine as a sovereign nation in a matter of days. That is a total lie. The purpose of the invasion was Vladimir Putin wanting Ukraine to honor the Minsk Agreement that was designed by France and Germany, that Zelensky and the Ukrainian government failed to abide by. Never mentioned in the media are the 15,000 people in the eastern region, the separatist region of Ukraine, that are Russian, that have been killed by the Ukrainians, including Zelensky's regime. Nearly a year later, Ukraine's survival is much safer bet than Putin's. A total lie. Ukraine is losing this war, and they're going to lose it. But that's the kind of propaganda that they keep selling. America goes not abroad in search of monsters to destroy. That was John Quincy Adams. And now all America does is goes abroad to slaughter monsters to destroy. And then the United States is outraged that Venezuela has a warship that's docked in Brazil, in Rio de Janeiro. Wait a minute. What is the United States fleet doing all over the world? That's okay. But that the Venezuelans are in Brazil, that's not good. They lied us into the Vietnam War when I was a young boy, young man. They said a lie, a total lie by Robert McNamara, the defense secretary at the time, said that the Vietnamese attacked the American ship in the Gulf of Tonkin. Total lie. But the people bought it. If the Vietnamese were in the Gulf of Mexico, how would America feel? But it's okay for America to be in the Gulf of Tonkin. It's okay for America to go through the Taiwan Straits, but how dare Venezuela go to Brazil? World War III has begun. They're ramping it up. And now Russia is ramping up their fight against Ukraine. The more weapons that are sent, the more Russia's going to escalate the war. Putin warned about this when it began. This would have been over months and months ago. When they blew up the Crimea Bridge, when they blew up Russia's Nord Stream's pipeline, Russia advanced its military aggression against Ukraine. Now they're sending more tanks, more weapons, and asking for more. As a close combat teacher and a black belt in it, you attack the attacker. If they're coming at you, you go at them. And that's what Russia is doing. Now they are attacking the attacker. NATO, the United States, all the countries sending more and more weapons. They're not going to wait until they get all these weapons so that they can attack the Russians. The Russians are attacking the attacker. You go for them as they're coming to you. Ukraine is not going to defeat Russia. What is going to happen, and is happening, and now the Russians are saying it out loud, as we said before, NATO and the United States are at war with Russia. And if we don't stop this, it's going to be the end of life on earth. You have, in a country near you, demonic people leading you. It's one after another. More and more war. Don't listen to Eisenhower that every gun that is made and every warship launched, every rocket fired is a theft from all those who hunger, etc. Celebrate, Ukrainians celebrate more armaments. And again, to illustrate the level of the demons that are running and ruining life on earth. My religion defines who I am, Biden said during a 2012 vice presidential debate. Quote, I've been a practicing Catholic my whole life. Your religion defines who you are. You are a believer of hell, Satan, and a demonic world of death and destruction. You are not a practicing Catholic. Catholics do not practice war. And you have never stopped practicing war your entire adult life. We need a higher level in America. And the people that I'm looking toward are Judge Andrew Napolitano for vice president and RFK Jr. for president. RFK Jr.'s uncle, the president of the United States, was assassinated. His father was assassinated. He has a heart and soul like nobody could imagine. And he would be a man of peace, as is Judge Andrew Napolitano. And as are the American people. It is only the evil politicians that want war. Thank you, and please do all you can to donate as much as you can and to spread the word as much as you can for the Universal Church of Freedom, Peace, and Justice. Because if you don't, you know the outcome. Do whatever you can and do something positive every day and keep putting out the word for peace. Thank you. Amen and amen.